I'm not. I'm sorry I'm leading these people on. I don't.
Hey,
I'm honestly. I
I'm looking to join a crew.
already talked to you, right? You were just over there, right?
Signed up for a test pilot program just the other day.
What?
Not gonna end up like these
Is she
guys.
not like gonna be like an interesting character, like in the sense of like she's like that other character that like has no quest related to them. They just have speaking roles. It's really a shame because I really, really like not only her and her like design and her voice actress. I like that other one, the one that's like all doom and gloom. I like both of those.
Hey, no funny stuff with that boost pack. Not enough flight traffic.
Like that? Nothing funny like that? I guess I can also try the I'm an idiot. Actually, I'm even more of an idiot because I should have just traveled, just used my thing to go immediately there, but
Stay safe out there.
make me. Matter of fact, let me go talk. I hit mass. That was my bad. I was gonna say, let me go talk to the journalist lady and see if I can give her more story since I did kind of complete a quest thingy. We can go that way now. Could use the running.
What?
I guess I should just turn in that quest while I'm already here since there's nothing better for me to do on that end. Instead of like going back and forth and stuff. Like obviously I'm gonna come back here anyway, but might as well do it while I'm here. Just looking to get a companion beforehand is my thing. Why, you ask? I have no idea. Because I just like the fact that there's another person that will like talk and I don't feel like I'm absolutely by myself. Who knows? Surely not I. Let's see.
My source is back. You talk and get paid. I spread the news. It's a classic win-win.
Oh, that's it? I don't want to do an interview right now.
Next time, then. If you have a news story for me, I have a feeling we'll see each
Apparently
other again.
that didn't count as a new news story. I should explore this planet too. I just spent so much time here that I really just don't want to, you know? Like I feel bad that you guys like every time I play this game, I spend a good amount of time back at New Atlantis and I just don't know if that's like entertaining for you. I mean, it's surely entertaining for me because I'm just inventory management and picking up like a quest here and there, so it's fine for me, but as I said before, as much as I am playing these games because I want to play them, I could also be playing these games without streaming. So the fact that I'm streaming means that I should make an effort to make it somewhat more entertaining for you, even if I I have like weird intricacies of how I play video games. Oh, God bless. I meant to respond to this message. Sorry about that. Wow, coincidental. The other person I was talking to messaged me back at the same time. Give me a minute. Responding to the message from another person. Oh, that's good. I'm glad that that message got taken the way that I wanted it. Oh man, that's good. Oh, sorry. I respond to their message definitely. I'm not gonna do it right now. It's late as is. And then I'll be sitting here typing for like an hour straight because I think the message that I sent them before took me like a good 40 minutes to send. Because I was just typing. It was a really long message, so that was good. Oh. Oh. Oh man. Inventory, spacesuits. I have to make the choice. Do I want? I think this one gives me, like this one's better in some ways, but I think this one gives me a better. Oh wait, I don't have any coercive with this one, right? I get 20 to that one, but it removes the airborne aspect. And the airborne is pretty good when it comes to stamina, and I do use stamina pretty often. Let's see. No corrosive on this one as well. No corrosive. This adds 5 airborne. There's like no whatchamacallit, right? Oh, okay, so there's thermo. So I'd go from 30 airborne, right? Because I have another 20 here. Oh yeah, no, this is just better. Oh, I hate that because actually, I think the Constellation one looks nicer, right? Because it looks like a traditional like spacesuit. So this one looks nicer, but I just don't think it's working. It works like for being an all-rounder than this one does. Because I mean, this one doesn't have corrosive stuff, but like the helmet does. And does my and if my Under Armour like helps at all, my Under Armour does have corrosive, but it doesn't have airborne, right? So I'd have to find my under uniform to have airborne and or radiation and stuff. So I think this just works better than the other one, unfortunately. Now I might be able to upgrade this to be better, and then I'll wear it. But I'm not gonna wear it if it's worse. But I really hate the helmet. I absolutely positively hate the helmet. Like, so absolute much. I really hate it. It's an ugly helmet. I think that's my biggest problem is that I wouldn't necessarily mind the spacesuit. Not that it's better than the Constellation, because I think the Constellation is actually better, but I wouldn't mind the spacesuit too much if it wasn't for the helmet. And I've said this before, I just wish that those visor things were actually propped up, because you can see like they're on like a line, right? There's like a little thing, and I'm like pointing at the screen like you can see exactly what I'm pointing at. But like the little visor thing, you can see that those clearly slid up, and I wish it was slid up so I could see my character's face, you know? And it's a silly and stupid thing to ask for, but I really want it. So until then, I'm just gonna leave the Constellation stuff in here for the moment. But I will probably use it in the future because I just think it looks better. Boy, I really hate that I dropped the ball and I didn't like think about doing this. What am I doing? It's gonna take longer to do it like that. Let's just do it in the mean way that, because like I said, Bethesda games aren't always fantastic when it comes to picking up or inventory management. But yeah, there's two games. This is like for the people that were in the conversation earlier, and now I'm like bringing up like almost an hour later. There's like these two games that's like all about like inventory management that I really enjoyed. One of them is almost like it's kind of like a warehouse, and it's kind of even a really interesting inventory management type game because it shows like kind of a bunch of cool ways that people like decide to categorize inventory. It's not like your typical like, oh, well, this is a gun, it goes in the gun pile, right? Like some people categorize things by color, some people categorize things by shape, some people categorize things by the image, or like some things people categorize by like the specific item. Like so think about it as like having like a bunch of shotguns, right? You have like a bunch of different shotguns. Some of the shotguns are like small, like no, like not a long barrel shotgun, like they're like sawed-off shotguns. And then some are like pink, and some are gray, and some of them have like modifications on, like a scope or something, or like a muzzle of some sort, right? Um, People will instead of like, and then like they're all shotguns, right? Some people would be like, oh, well, they're all shotguns, they should all go in the shotgun category. But some people don't categorize stuff like that. They'll categorize stuff like, well, I want all the purple shotguns or purple shotguns or other purple weapons to be in one category. And they don't care that there might be some shotguns in there and some that aren't shotguns like in there. Like they're just clearly color coding it. And some people will categorize it as like, oh, well, they're shotguns, but I only want to categorize them based on the weapon modification. So the ones that have scopes, the ones that have specific barrel modifications, the ones that have stock modifications, so they'll like group them up into something like that. Or what was the other example? Like maybe ammo type, like this one shoots buckshot, and this one, like, not everybody looks at like things and categorizes them in the same way, right? Some people do, right? A lot of people would go, they're all shotguns, right? What does it matter whether it's a short stock or a long stock, or any of that stuff? Like no stock to some stock, right? Shouldn't I do this first? Deep cover. You with an assignment. I am to report back to the UC Vigilance and speak to the Commander Koa for details. She's running up. I think I'll do this one, and hopefully I can do this one after the fact. If it doesn't lock me out. But yeah, it's a really cool,
Captain,
like,
over
unique
here.
game because, like, again, I think, and this has happened to me, like, I'll, like, stack some, like, of these, like, little boxes, depending on the icon, and then later I'll be like, oh, I'm stacking them by color, and stuff like that, or I'll stack them by icon, then color, then shape. Like, it's so interesting because, it's interesting to see how other people play the game, because for me, for instance, when I was watching my, my ex-partner at the time, like, play this game or talk about this game, like I was like, oh, you're categorizing these things all wrong, but there is no right or wrong answer, right? Like it's all subjective to like how you organize things and how you organize your thoughts and whatnot. And it's a really cool like game, and it's about inventory management, and like it's also timed, so you have to organize these things in this like warehouse in a way where you can get at them easily and stuff in a quick fashion. That's why you're organizing them to begin with. So it'll be like, oh, we need, 3 of this and 3 of this, and so you have to like kind of like, oh, well, they're over here on this big warehouse or whatever, so I know where to go, right? Because it's like, oh, I have all the icons that are hats, or all of my purple icons are over here, or all of my food icons are over here, right? So it's just a really cool game. And then there's another one that's a rather recent game, I think. I mean, they're both pretty recent games, but the one I've played recently is like it's like you're moving into houses or places.
I
Hey, my
hope
favorite.
Aquila
I'm a
City
morning
has what we
person.
need.
Just a regular ball of sunshine.
I really wish you could be a companion. Oh yeah, I need to go get into companion actually. Let's go do that while I'm still talking about nonsense. Oh, and I need to. I'm dumb. I didn't grab all that stuff back, did I now? Whatever. I'll come back for it later. No, there's no need to go grab all that stuff now, right? I did. Yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah, just like, the other one was like moving into like a house, and it's like kind of like, going through the days of like, oh, we moved into our new like apartment, and so you have to like place the items in like their places and stuff like that. And that game, I like it, but the game decides what's a wrong or right answer for some things, and that I don't like because it feels like a puzzle. I mean, they're both puzzle games, right? But that one feels more like they want you to solve the puzzle in a specific way and feels less freeing. Now, it is pretty open to some interpretation, but there are limitations, unlike the other game that I previously mentioned, that like that one there is no limitations. You can kind of organize and place objects any which way you feel like.
Anything I can do for you?
Who are you?
Good to see you.
Are you so worried about Chris? Oh.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried. But I think
Forgot
I'm
it's
doing
the
better than
birthday girl.
before.
Or-
I guess my family and I just need to realize it. He's his own person, and he's doing what he loves. It's hard, but I think we'll be okay. Hope to see you again soon.
I love how that's not spilling over. I think I can't do the thing for you. Even though I really like your outfit and your aesthetic, I don't want to spend the amount of money for somebody that I might kick off my career like pretty quickly. So,
You're back! What do you say? Will you take me with you?
yeah, give me 1 second and respond to this person.
Aye aye, Captain. I won't overcharge you. I'm grateful for the offer. I've been out of a job since I left the Freestar Rangers. Thanks! I think we'll make a great team, huh?
adoring fan.
Thanks for giving me a chance, Captain. I won't let you down.
No problem. Can you follow me
Did you
now?
need my help with something?
Do you mind if I ask you some personal questions? I'd like you to follow me.
You know me. I'm an open book.
Are you? Where are you from? I mean, she said she was a Freestar Ranger, so I'm assuming from the Freestar Collective. I don't.
I was raised in Hope Town on Polvo. It's a corporate town
Excuse
run
me.
by Ron Hope, the CEO of Hope Tech Manufacturing.
I see that their name is
He
very
likes to sell it as a
original.
utopia, a place where workers are provided everything they need for a happy life. But that's a lie. The conditions are awful for the average person in Hope Town. Almost everyone there lives hand to mouth.
Why did I get a thing for that? Can you tell me a bit more about Hope Tech?
Hope Tech is a starship manufacturer. They make cargo freighters and other industrial vehicles. Most of them are clunky eyesores, barely suited for grav jumping. But people keep buying them, so Hope Tech keeps making them.
What's it like growing up there?
I grew up on the edge of poverty, like most working class people in Hope Town. My parents' wages from Hope Tech barely kept food on the table. For a long time, I couldn't imagine my life any other way. Ron Hope does a good job making sure his workers feel like they're being cared for. It wasn't until I got old enough to start working in the factories myself that I started to understand how bad things really were.
Why are the conditions so bad? I'm just thinking about the text of the message earlier. I'm sorry. Why are the conditions there so bad?
It's Ron Hope's fault. He controls everything that happens in Hope Town. Our entire economy is dependent on him. There's nothing stopping him from increasing wages and improving safety in his factories, but he won't do it. Keeping your workforce poor and plying them with cheap liquor at company stores is a good way to keep them around.
If things are that bad, I'm surprised more people don't leave. That's terrible. No one should treat people like that.
I agree. It was awful to grow up around so much suffering. I know more people would leave if they could, but Hope Tech's wages are so low that almost no one can afford it. That's why I joined the Freestar Rangers. I knew they'd fly me to Aquila for training, and I wanted to do something more meaningful with my life than building starships. I thought being a ranger would be a perfect fit, but it didn't turn out like I was expecting. Boarding the ship to leave Hope Town might be the best thing that happened to me while I was a deputy.
How was working with the Rangers different than you were expecting?
In the stories I heard growing up, the Rangers were always described as the ultimate champions of justice in the galaxy.
In the galaxy?
If you've spent any time in the Freestar Collective,
I have not.
it's obvious that they haven't even made a dent in the problems there. Just look at Neon. Poverty and crime are all over the city, but the Rangers barely bothered to patrol it. Learning that made me reconsider my opinion of them.
I can understand that opinion, but also, like, if you see the problems in the Freestar Rangers, then maybe you should, like, implement your own change and do better and, get up in the ranks and, like, make it a better from within. If you see that thing, like leaving just because you see that it's bad is not gonna necessarily help it get better. But I mean, also don't come after me. I know like this is also like a thing where a very common problem in like a lot of like different things and organizations where like yeah you're only one person and you got to worry about your mental health and like whether you're gonna actually be able to ever
This
implement
really isn't like you.
change and stuff like that. I get it. There's multifaceted things, but I guess because I consider myself like a very like I don't know um God, I don't know how to word this without like making it sound bad for people who aren't this because you're not a bad person and I don't think less of you or anything like that. But like I'm the type of person that will stick with it even if it seems bad because I am hoping that eventually I will be able to make it better and then better for the people above below me. Like for an example of like anytime like I'm working for a company or whatever and I eventually, very quickly usually get the people working under
Cat
me
got
or
your
like
tongue,
for
huh?
training or whatever. Like I treat them significantly better than the people who trained me, and they're the people that work me, and I'm a lot more understanding and considerate and all this kind of stuff like that, while also still getting the jobs done the way that they should get done and whatnot. I realize that's obviously my experience, and not everybody can do that. And I don't think less of you or anything like that. That's fine. Sometimes you have to know when to quit too. Um, so I get it. Just not the type of person I am. Especially when it comes to something like justice. Like it's not something that I would want to give up on when I know that it can be better. You seem like a hard person to impress. Sorry to hear, even though wasn't what you expected.
No apology needed, huh? It's not your fault. For all that working with the Rangers wasn't for me, I still learned a lot. It was eye-opening to see how people live all over the Freestar Collective. I thought the conditions in Hopetown were unique, but leaving Polvo showed me I was wrong about that.
I don't have any more questions. How did leaving Povo change your perspective on the Freestar Collective? Will you tell me more about why you decided to leave the Freestar Rangers?
It showed me that Ron Hope's attitude isn't unique. The Freestar
No.
Collective is full of people willing to take advantage of others to get what they want. And there are barely any systems in place to stop them. No one to tell them no or punish them for it. That's the downside of the Freestar way of doing things, huh? No social safety nets. It's hard for anyone born into poverty to improve their situation, especially with people like Ron Hope and Benjamin Bayou in power.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I guarantee you the the UC is also doing bad things, but I think it's kind of like what we kind of doing right here in like the States where the government really pretty much wants like wants to be a hands-off, or most people want to be a hands-off approach when it comes to all these like things because they want the economy to flow and they think like regulation and all that kind of stuff just slows everything down and red tape is just the worst and all this kind of stuff, right? But like what you don't realize is those things are safeguarding your people, which making your people like healthier and better, which leads to better production and better like products and stuff like that. Like yeah, there.
Something on your mind, Captain?
Hold on a second. So people like kind of look at that like, oh yeah, but they slow everything down, they make things cost more, and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, but like also they make things better in the long term. They seem bad in the short term maybe if you really want to rake in the dough real quickly and then get out, sure. But in the long term game, they're actually better. It's like educating your people. Like in the short term, educating your people is really expensive, and you're not going to see any like benefits in tomorrow, right? But like if you educate your people and you don't put a gate like you don't gatekeep it with like tuition and stuff like that, you will see a better
Captain,
quality of
is
life for
everything
everybody.
okay?
and stuff, because you have a more educated workforce, which means that they're going to be making higher and more valued products and stuff like that, and they're going to be more knowledgeable about how society runs, and so society will run better, and like politics will be better because those type of people are going to be slightly more informed and not just take somebody's words at it, and so they're going to be making better decisions, with the voting power. Like it's like a cascading effect. When you actually invest in people, you get better results in the long term. The problem is these people don't like to listen. They don't like to wait, and they're not patient. They want short-term gains, and it's the same thing with a Freestar
If you
Collective.
want my
You want
opinion on something, you have to ask.
people like leaving the UC probably because there's a lot of regulation and all that kind of stuff, and I guarantee you the UC is not perfect, and so there are also, some oppressive measures and all that kind of stuff. So they flock to like the Freestar Collective because they want to get away from, all that red tape, right? But the problem is like, who's also trying to get away from the regulation, the people that like that need those red tapes are like in place and all that regulation in place because they would do bad things if allowed to do the bad things, right? You know, they don't want oversight because they want to abuse and use their people and stuff like that. Like they don't care about the people, they only care about the short term
Captain,
goals.
is everything okay?
Yes, I'm sorry that I'm like just ranting off to you, but um like the idea of what's going on with the Freestar Collective makes a lot of sense. And it's not because Freestar people are bad per se. It's the fact that like the mentality behind some of maybe the original like concept of the Freestar attracts bad people or some bad people, right? Because again, all Freestar people are not bad. It's just the select few of people that do control everything are bad, and they have no incentive to make it better because they're still profiting in the short term. They're profiting more. Who's Benjamin Bayou?
He's the administrator of Neon. He
Sorry
basically
for
owns
going
the
on an
city.
absolutely
I like to
ridiculous
say
rant
that
about
not
how
a credit gets
awful
spent on
societies can be.
Volii Alpha that doesn't end up in Bayou's pocket. I feel sorry for anyone who has to grow up there. Povo was bad, but at least we didn't have violent gangs.
You seem to have improved your situation just fine. I've never really thought about it like that before.
You're not alone. Most Freestars aren't very good at introspection. I took plenty of flack for criticizing the Rangers before I left the Freestar Collective behind.
You tell me more about why you decided to leave the Freestar Rangers.
The longer I spent with the Rangers, the more I started to feel like they served the Freestar Collective's government more than its citizens. I couldn't make peace with the fact that an organization that claimed to stand for freedom and individuality let places like Hopetown exist. Eventually, the hypocrisy was too much. I made the decision to resign and move to the UC. Seemed like people there might share more of my views.
I mean, again, those things are probably happening in the UC too, just maybe not to the exact extent because there is already safeguards in place, right? Eventually, no doubt, the Freestar Collective will start becoming, hopefully, before it destroys itself, will start becoming more like the UC in the sense of those like kind of like regulations and making their people better because they realize that hey, um, if we don't invest in the people, then we're never gonna get better as a society. And then like our enemies, like the UC and the I can't
If
Varun.
you want my opinion on something, you have to ask.
Sorry. Um, the Varu will eventually like overrun them or take advantage of like their weakness in like something or whatever. So It's a silly game that like politics plays and corruption and everything else under the sun. What made you think UC would be any better?
There's a reason the United Colonies and the Freestar Collective have never quite seen eye to eye. They do things very differently. The UC provides services like healthcare and job placement for its citizens. Those kind of things don't exist in the Freestar Collective. My opinions
Am I
about the
living in the
government's
Freestar Collective?
responsibility to its citizens seem to fit better with the UC's way of doing things.
Is the Freestar Collective just my country? Is that what we're saying here? Hypocr hypocrisy. Sorry, God, Lord, hypocrisy is taking it far. I'm sure the Rangers do their best. I think I would have made the same decision.
It was the right decision, but it wasn't an easy one.
No doubt.
My family is still in Hopetown. That was almost enough to keep me from leaving the Freestar Collective. But I had my mind set on finding a better place for all of us. I've been trying to find my parents a way out of Hopetown for years. I thought if I moved to the UC and found out things were better there, they might finally be willing to consider it.
Did you find what you were looking for when you moved to the UC?
I thought I did, at first. New Atlantis is clean and safe, and most of
Apparently
the
you haven't
people
been
there
with
are
the well.
happy. And it seemed like the government was doing a lot to keep it that way. But my perspective changed after I took an entry-level job with UC Security. They stationed me in the well. I couldn't believe the conditions down there. It made all the UC talk of a perfect society seem like propaganda. The more I started looking around, the more cracks I saw in the whole thing.
Again, no society can be perfect. It's a kind of like, you know, a give and take. You gotta see what they're giving and stuff, like what they offer, and obviously the drawbacks for that offer. But like I said, any government or society that actually invests in its own people rather than investing in like corporations or itself is always going to be a better society and or country or nation in the long run, because they're invested in the growth of their individual citizens, and that growth in turn helps the nation and the society grow.
Cat got your
right?
tongue, huh?
Like think about like here in the States, think about hi, person that just phased through and pushed me. Think about here, like education up until high school is free, right? It's covered by the taxpayers and stuff like that. It's free. And why do you think we do that? Because we want to make, you know, productive members of society. Not to say that our educational system, is amazing or perfect, but like think about what what our society would be like without that, without free access to that limited, grant you, education system, right? Think about if
This really isn't like you.
if we didn't pay, like out of taxpayer money, we didn't pay for that, and the only way you could, you know, learn how to write and stuff is if your parents paid for schooling, right? Think about how many people wouldn't do that. And because you have less educated citizens, meaning they're not able to do more specialized jobs, meaning that they're not making more specialized products, meaning that they're not because they're not making more specialized products, they're not raking in more money per product and stuff like that. Like just everything's worse, right? So it's kind of the same thing I say about like
Something
corporations.
on your mind, Captain?
Like, look at corporations kind of like a like mini nations. You know, when you think of like something like, you know, any big corporations out here, you know, whether it be Walmart or McDonald's or, you know, etc., right? Target, like if you invest in your employees, right, you make your employees happy, you give them good time off, good benefits, all this kind of jazz, like statistically, you're gonna have better employees, and you're gonna have employees that are willing to go above and beyond, right? Because they feel like they're being treated right. They feel like they're being treated like a
Cat got your
person
tongue, huh?
and not like a cog in a machine. And because of that, they're going to be more productive. They're more productive, meaning that they're putting things out on the shelves faster, or, you know, they're not just taking their time putting stuff on the shelf. They're like, you know, they're handling things with care. You know, things don't get broken or stolen as often, stuff like that. Like that stuff adds up in long term, and the company ends up making more money in the long term. This isn't something that we're just making up like off the top of the head because we're like, oh man, I really want more pay, or I really want more sick days, you know, stuff like that. Like legitimately investing in your employees leads to higher
This really
and
isn't
more
like you.
and more profits. Like that's just fact, right? That those are just facts. And don't get me wrong, there are limitations to that, right? You can't just invest everything, right? It's the same thing with like, you know, you can't invest everything, you know, into it. Like you can't just go all the chips in and then think everything's going to fix itself and be better, right? There are obviously is a limitation, and like there's it's not all for one, you know, or I mean not all for one, all in, you know, type thing. It's like, you know, you're investing a little bit here and a little bit here, right? To, you know, balance out your portfolio, essentially. But yeah, like it has been shown time and time again, when you invest in these areas, when you invest in people, right?
Something on your mind, Captain?
When you invest in individual people, you end up like, you know, profiting as a whole. Like, let's see. Aside from the well, what else did you see that made you question the UC's intentions? I mean,
Their treatment of the soul system to begin with.
yeah.
It's one of humanity's greatest treasures. And
It's pretty much
they've let
abandoned.
it fall into total disarray.
Yep.
The UC's insistence on maintaining a large and well-equipped military is also a bit off-putting. If they're committed to intergalactic peace, why do they need it? Those are the kinds of questions you almost never hear UC citizens ask. I think that comes down to good marketing on Mast's part.
I mean, you know, unfortunately, how a lot of like international and obviously in the space realm, like, you know, galaxy-wide politics work is, you know, whoever has the bigger stick gets to make all the rules and stuff. And sometimes even if you're like the good guy and all, you have well intentions, you still need that big stick, because you can have all the well intentions in the world, but like if somebody with a bigger stick comes by and whacks you, you know. But yeah, I definitely agree with your statement about the soul system. I was actually surprised at how like limiting Mars is, you know, because me coming from, you know, Earth at this time period, I'm
Captain,
like, well, how don't we have like a bigger
everything
presence?
okay?
Yeah, everything's good. Why don't we have a bigger presence on Mars, honestly? What kind of things did you see in the well that changed your perspective?
The UC makes a show of promising job placement and housing options to all its citizens. But if those programs exist in the well, there's no sign of them. Most people down there live in the same conditions I saw in Hopetown. There's crime and unemployment, and a lack of good medical care. It's nothing like the rest of New Atlantis. But you'd never know that from the outside, of course.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing about what she said. I just really want to know what this NPC behind her is doing. Like, why are you doing it? You look like you're dancing. Like, you don't look like you're trying to get past her. You just look like you're dancing. Because, like, I'm seeing this other NPC walk by. Like, so it's not like you're being really blocked. Like, what? The AI pathing in this game is so terrible, and I don't know why, because I don't think it, like, don't get me wrong, the AI pathing in previous Bethesda games wasn't fantastic, but like in this game it's pretty bad. Like, it's noticeably bad. What would it do? What good would it do the UC to lie to its citizens? I
If
mean,
you
so
want
much.
I think the UC government doesn't like people challenging its decisions or remembering its history in too much detail.
Yep.
Mast did some horrific things during the colony war. They'd rather people forget about them, especially citizens who might start demanding a change. The best way to maintain the status quo is to keep people from examining things closely. Consistent propaganda is a good tool for that.
I've never believed that things in the UC are as perfect as Mast would like us to believe. You think reading too much. I think you're reading too much into it. No, I 100% agree with you. I mean, I'm not one of those type of people that thinks like, oh, everything's a big giant conspiracy and stuff like that. But like, there are some people that are doing bad things, and we have to acknowledge that. And there's also a lot of incompetence. We also have to acknowledge that too. Are you done dancing?
It all seems just a little bit too shiny when you really start to look
Hey.
closely, huh?
Thanks
I'm
for the
glad
follow,
I'm not the only one who
Young
thinks
Luke
so.
93.
Once the wool
I
fell from my
appreciate
eyes,
you.
living in New Atlantis lost its luster. That's when I decided life in the major factions wasn't for me. The problems run too deep. There's corruption and division everywhere, and not enough people are willing to see it. I don't think that will change anytime soon. It seems to me like the only option is starting over, huh? Founding a colony without the influence of massive governments and corporations. Maybe people would be kinder to each other.
But that's clearly what the
place like
Free Star
that.
Collective kind of tried to do, and like that's why they're like as corrupt and bad and stuff. Like, they tried that. Like, it's not necessarily like the best option to just go off and try to recreate the wheel again, because and hope that like you get it correct, right? Like, the Free Star Collective tried to do that, and what happened is it just attracted a lot of like bad people and people that like were just out to take advantage of the fact that you were starting something new with, you know, very like infantile like thought processes of like, oh yeah, regulation, we don't want that. Like, so it's just it's not enough to just go and like, let's go like recreate our own thing with like, you know,
This really
hookers
isn't
and
like
poker
you.
and stuff, and it'll be better. Like, you gotta like actually make the, you know, the effort to like fix the problems that are already here, even though if they sound or they seem like, you know, insurmountable problems. Give me a second. I have a feeling I know. Cool. Not related to me. Okay. Sounds purely idealistic. What makes you think that maybe you should be the person to try it?
I've always tried to see the best in people. I really believe that the average person wants what's best for everyone around them. I think without the influence of big governments and greedy corporations, people will treat each other better.
Not necessarily. Again, Exhibit A, Freestar Collective. Like, they were just a group of people that wanted to be free from regulation and you know, control over by the UC, which is a great goal. But what ended up happening is a lot of people just took it. A lot of those people took advantage of that. They're like, oh yeah, free, no regulation. I'm this big corporation. Let me go and hop on that bandwagon. And what are you complaining about now that like you left the Freestar Collective because they're treating their people badly because there's no regulation. There's nobody cares. Like crime run rampant and stuff. Like it's not necessarily a good idea.
If you want my opinion on something,
Maybe
you
you
have
should
to
be.
ask.
Maybe you should be the person to try it. No, I don't think either of those are good options.
We won't know until someone tries it, huh? I don't know why that shouldn't be me. I can't just sit around and watch the problems in the settled systems get worse. It's not who I am. But I'm not rushing into anything. If I'm really going to do this, I need to get a better sense of how people live all over the settled systems.
I literally thought like I
That
just got
means
this companion. She was
visiting the
about to
major
leave. And I was like,
cities
I didn't even get
and
to do
looking
anything
at
with
both
you.
the good things and the bad. That way, I can decide what things I want to keep and what I am going to leave behind. Good thing I'm working for a captain that likes to travel, huh?
Yeah, how lucky
We'll
of
hit
you.
all the major cities in no time.
Maybe, but visiting them all isn't a priority for me. Wow. It might not be quick. I prefer to travel off the beaten path. That is so true. Sure, I think I can help you with that.
I appreciate it. And don't you worry, I won't let this distract me from my normal duties. You're still the boss.
Uh-huh.
That was a nice talk.
Oh, wait. No,
It's
I need you
always
to
a
follow
good
me.
day when we
I
get
like,
to chat.
I like you to follow me for a while.
I'm right behind you, Captain.
Okay. Now, I
Hi,
have no
how
idea
are
whether
you?
this is like other Bethesda games and will let you actually like customize clothing in some way by throwing it in your inventory. Although I'm saying that and I haven't played a Bethesda game without mods where I could just manually do that, so I don't even remember exactly how that works with things. I think the gear has to actually be better than the gear she's wearing. Mass would be closest, I think.